Well, good evening from Florida. I made it to Florida. I am here in the Panhandle area near Panama City Beach. Right now I am at Grayton State Park and I'm getting ready for an overnight camp out. Joining me tonight is my sister Colleen. She's a little camera shy, as are all of my sisters. So she probably won't be on camera too much, but she is here with me. I have been spoiled staying at her lovely home over the last week, and it's been very nice, but we thought it'd be fun for us girls to get out here in the Florida woods and have a little camp out. Let me show you what it's looked like over this past week, and this is what winter in Florida and the Panhandle looks like.
The Florida Panhandle is the northwestern part of the U.S. state of Florida. It is a strip of land roughly 200 miles long and 50 to 100 miles wide, lying between Alabama on the north and the west, Georgia on the north, and the Gulf of Mexico to the south. For the next 10 days, I would be staying in the Panama City Beach area, but also checking out surrounding communities, some of which were pretty high-end. My first experience in Gator Country would come with a visit to St. Andrews State Park, with the Gulf of Mexico on one side and St. Andrews Bay on the other. Unfortunately, I didn't see any gators. However, I did see other forms of wildlife. After visiting the park, it was time to grab a bite. Some of these establishments reminded me of home in California and definitely had a California vibe.
As you can see, it is very beautiful here. It's the beaches are just gorgeous with the white sands and the emerald green waters. And they have been showing me around town and to a lot of different places. It's been very cool. Been hiking around where gators roam, which is completely new to me. And here at this park, we have a lake right here, and we can also walk to the beach. And the plan is for tonight to cook up some steaks and some veggies, and probably go check out the beach and check out the local area, maybe do a little hike in the morning, cook up some breakfast. It's going to be a fun camp out. We are taking a lovely evening stroll to the beach. Well, that was just beautiful. We are going to make our way back to camp before it gets too dark to start getting dinner going. So I will insert last night's sunset here because we stayed until the end for that one, and it was beautiful, colorful, and probably what this one's going to look like a little bit later. I've seen some beautiful sunsets since I've been here, and that's one thing that does remind me of home in California. When you're looking at that horizon, you don't know whether you're in Florida or California. It's absolutely beautiful. But it is time to get those steaks on the fire. It's dark already. It still gets dark early in the winter time. So yeah, let's get a fire going and get those steaks going. I'm hungry. Unfortunately, it has just started raining right before we were ready to cook dinner, so we've moved the operation indoors. Luckily, I do have a 2-burner stove inside the camper, so it is on to plan B. Dinner is done. It was still very tasty even though we didn't get to cook it on the campfire. We are just going to watch a movie tonight and enjoy some sister time. So we will see you all in the morning. Good night. Good night. As you might be able to hear, it's raining and there's thunder. And yeah, it's been a major thunderstorm all night. Good morning. Looks like it's going to continue for most of the day today, so we will probably be cutting this trip short, unfortunately. And that is going to do it for this video. It did end a bit abruptly. However, this trip ended a bit abruptly, and I'll explain why in just a moment. The next several days, the weather was very similar to what you saw at the end of this video. In fact, almost my entire trip in Florida had similar type of weather. Even though it's Florida, it's still winter, and in the Panhandle area, apparently it stays cooler than it does in the southern parts of Florida, so we didn't have as much sunshine. As I mentioned, my trip to Florida ended probably sooner than I would have liked. I was hoping to do a little more. Again, the weather was an issue, but also I discovered that my registration for my vehicle was due, which I knew. I knew it was that time of year. The thing that I didn't know is that it needed a smog certificate in order to renew my registration, and that is a California law. My vehicle is still registered in California, and they have serious emission laws there in California. So unfortunately, I have to get my truck smogged by a certain date, and so that has fast-tracked my trip to head back west. I was also hoping to visit the Smokies while I was here in the east, but that's not going to happen either, unfortunately. The good news is my sister lives in Florida, so I will be back. And also, with the stormy weather, it brought beautiful sunsets, and those are the winter type of sunsets I'm used to in California, so that was really cool. It really kind of gave me a feel for being home in California. Speaking of weather, you might wonder what happened to Texas. It seems like I just blew right through Texas. I was in New Mexico at the Carlsbad Caverns, and then all of a sudden I was doing a backpacking trip in Arkansas. I did spend 3 days in Texas. However, I was staying with my friend Coach. Unfortunately, weather was a factor once again. My plan was to go from the Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico directly to the Guadalupe Mountains in Texas. It's only about a 40-minute drive from where I was. However, the weather took a turn, and I did not have time to wait it out because I had the backpacking trip to Arkansas scheduled. There was wind, there was rain, and it gets very windy apparently in that area. So I had to skip it, and I went ahead and went over to Coach's house. I needed to have my inverter replaced because I fried my inverter, which in my camper, that's what distributes the power from my solar panels throughout my camper, and which means I wouldn't be able to power my laptop. I fried that. I had to order a new one from Amazon, and I had that sent to Coach's house. So he and his wife Janice were so gracious and let me stay for a couple of days and receive my package there before our backpacking trip in Arkansas. And they gave me and showered me with that southern hospitality, and it was just a really nice stay. I also had a chance to visit one of my nieces and one of my nephews in Texas that live in a neighboring town to Coach, so that was very cool. And once again, on the topic of weather, I am currently hunkered down somewhere in the south. I have left Florida to start heading back west. However, there is a big cold front moving over almost the entire United States, and Texas is going to get hit pretty hard. So I am just going to wait out this cold event before I hit the road again. And on the way back west, I will be showing Texas some love. I will be making a couple stops. It won't be what I had originally planned. However, I will definitely be shooting a video or two in Texas. And then it will be back to the west for spring adventures, which I am lining up as we speak. So it should be an awesome spring. So the southwest to the southeast portion of my trip is done, and I am now embarking on my southeast to southwest portion of this trip, and I hope that you've enjoyed coming along. I really appreciate you tuning in. I've loved seeing all these new places, all new to me, which has been fantastic. And I would definitely say the highlight so far was my backpacking trip to Arkansas on the Eagle rock loop. If you missed that, please go back and check that out, and I will link it below as well. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I do notice that most of my viewers are not subscribers, so please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification to be notified of future uploads. And I want to also say a very special thank you to Coach and his wife Janice for their hospitality while I came through Texas, and also my sister Colleen and her husband Gary for their gracious hospitality when I was in Florida. Stay tuned, everybody. This southern road trip is not done. I still have to get back to the west, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.